Oh.
Oh my goodness. This is cool. We're the only two people watching.
I know. That's great.
We can do anything we want.
That's right.
Yes, we can say anything we want.
We can drink mom and dad's liquor.
Exactly. We're the only two here. Yeah.
Although I've got diabetes, I can't drink liquor anymore.
Do it really? No alcohol at all, huh?
Well, I say that.
Instant sugar?
So what?
It's like instant sugar, right?
Well, your liver makes sugar.
Yeah.
From it, so that's the problem. But I'm sure as long as I only drink enough to where, let's see, I don't exceed is it 130 grams of carbs, the equivalent or whatever, then I'm okay. But I think alcohol going straight to the liver and making sugar from there would probably exceed all that.
Yeah. My mom.
I'm sure there's plenty of diabetics that still drink.
My mom had this thing where instead of making sugar, she would make acetaldehyde, and she would get really sick from drinking. So my mom never could drink. She had some gene that just processes alcohol differently. There's some people that get really flushed when they drink and they get real uncomfortable. My mom was one of those. She tried to drink with my dad, but it didn't work.
Some people don't respond well to, like, is it the tannins in wine as well, to where you're essentially resistant to it or sensitive to it, and so you get sick.
Yeah, with her, it sounded like the alcohol was, the primary problem, going right to acetaldehyde. I don't know too much about that mechanism, so fact check me on all that. But for me, it turned, not only turned it into high energy sugar, but turned it into like pure fucking smack level dopamine, to where I would, but oddly enough, when I first started drinking, I would become very uncomfortable for the first one or two beers. And I always described it as a feeling that a train was coming. There was something going on in my system that was way too much for me to handle. And then I would drink very rapidly until I got into this fucking euphoric phase, right? And unfortunately, in the euphoric phase, I wasn't making very good decisions about how to slow up drinking. So I'd continue to drink rapidly. And before I knew it, I would be in the blackout phase, my drunk. So, but it happened over and over again. But it was like, once I had one beer, there was absolutely no question that I had to have 3 or 4 more, because I was in a state of complete discomfort, and there was no way to go back. I just had to go forward. So it was really, there's some odd physiology with alcohol.
Well, I know when I was younger, I would drink it, but I didn't care for beer. Yeah. And it could just be that the people in Arkansas where I'm at just drank lousy beer. But, and then there was a period of time where I didn't drink any alcohol whatsoever. And then finally later, I started drinking beer again, and I thought, this is some of the best stuff ever put on the face of the earth. So I don't know, my taste changed, but I found most beer to be, pretty delicious, especially like the darker beers.
Yeah, you acquire a taste for things like cheese and beer and seafood. And there are certain things that really don't taste good the first time you taste them, and then you develop some sort of weird craving thing. Like that happened to me with sushi to just a ridiculous extent. Where the first time I ate sushi, it's like, what the fuck? But then, like 3 days later, it's like sushi. I was like a zombie.
I went through a sushi phase.
Yeah,
where I couldn't get enough of it.
Still
Plus, there was a Whole Foods just down from my work, and they produced fresh sushi, every few hours.
Yeah,
and and that stuff was delicious. So I would always have like at least one meal a day for like weeks would be sushi.
So my son's bought me this sushi knife that's supposed to be the second best sushi knife in the world or something. And the fucking thing, you look at it, you could just see how it's got all these like herringbone patterns in it on the light. And if you lay it on a piece of fish, it just falls right through it. And I've got some sashimi grade frozen fish in my freezer. So I should go make sushi today. Nigiri and maki. And yeah, I love making it. I love it. But nobody, I think I might make sushi today. What the fuck?
I'm coming over.
Sounds good. Anyway, so we have this Micheal versus Mr. Delicieux?
Or you could call it Canadian atheist versus, I forgot the name of the
Wackadoodle?
Yeah. I get a by the way, his channel, the Wackadoo, is Your Way or Yahweh tested by fire.
Oh my God.
Your Way or Yahweh. It's a Wackadoo name. I get some sort of narcissistic feel from him. He did what satisfies a few points of what you would call your gaslighting. Leaning in and trying to make the other person doubt themselves and things like that. Attacking Canadian atheists' competency and things like that. So
what the hell's Lake Hamilton? Maynard says,
Lake Hamilton is a lake. It's in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and apparently Maynard has family from Arkansas living in the Hot Springs area.
Oh, I'm sorry, Maynard.
And I happened to have been born in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So that's bringing back. And plus, they had a really posh restaurant there that called Hamilton House that serves some wonderful steaks. Filet mignon and things like that.
Yeah, I go through phases like that when I get on something. I'm on it. Oh, sushi. Okay,
we were talking sushi. Yeah, he's just following along, and don't think we don't appreciate it, Maynard.
We appreciate it. You're our only viewer. No, there's one other out there. I don't know who the hell that is, but they haven't surfaced yet.
They haven't let themselves be known.
Yeah. So there's that debate. Did you want to comment on anything in that debate?
Well, he did use his 7-day cycle bit to establish God's sovereignty, and from there, then obviously God's morality, and he would wave and just be real histrionic looking. His morality is more superior than man's morality and things like that, which is kind of silly. Because just even though you establish the existence of a deity, that does not mean that deity's morality is good.
Yeah.
It just does not follow from that, unless you just want to define that kind of moral superiority into existence. But just because you define it doesn't make it real, doesn't instantiate it. So it's just logical fallacies all the way down.
Yeah. Well, you get these youngsters, and they get an idea in their head, and they think that nobody's ever thought of this idea before. And I just got a slam dunk argument for God. And I'm gonna show you this whatever, and more and more of them, they just keep popping up. Never asking themselves, "Am I right? Am I right?
Am I right, huh? Am I right?"
Am I right?
Yeah.
Could I be right? That sort of thing. But just very quickly, I wanted to. That was a monstrosity I drew.
Yeah, that's your biblical timeline.
And I changed it to this, which is probably a little nicer.
Line is nice. Lines are nice and straight. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is straight. Anyway, so that's part of the monstrosity. But that kind of leads to this whole discussion, and the shit where, if you're an atheist, what does anything mean that Sal Cordova keeps saying? It's like you can't have logic and you can't have meaning in your life because you're an atheist, so you have nothing to ground it with, right? So what the fuck is meaning in your life, or what is meaning? What do we mean by meaning? And the problem with meaning, like I was looking at a fucking dictionary definition of meaning, and it said what a word means. That was their definition of meaning.
Oh,
it's like, okay, what? Now we're gonna have to go to
bad dictionary. Bad. What
Bad
dictionary was that?
I don't fucking know. Okay, what Merriam-Webster says: the thing one intends to convey, especially by language. So, meaning would be the what is it in biosemiotics? It would be the interpretant, or it would be probably the object. No, it would be the interpretant.
Hey, I'll be back in just a second. I'm sorry to catch in your. Yeah, the I got a burrito delivery at the door.
Oh my God, we got to pick that up.
Yeah, otherwise it's probably cold by now. It's a cold morning. It's only like in the 50s. So hold on.
Right. Okay, so we got a couple of things. The thing one intends to convey, especially by language, to purport. The thing that is conveyed, especially by language, import. The import. Something meant or intended. Significant quality. And then the logical connotation of a word or phrase, the logical denotation of a word or extension of a word or phrase. Implication of a hidden or special significance, like a glance full of meaning. So anyway, what does meaning mean? Hey, Brainbug.
Brainbug's here. Yay.
Yeah.
Buzz, 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 buzz. Are you on your way to work, Brainbug?
Bug works. Bug has a job. Why do people have jobs? I don't get it.
I know they're not like fulfilling, or maybe it is. Maybe I'm the only one who's
not fulfilling.
Well, but anyway, I don't know that too much.
So, and then there's that whole rule following argument that Leo and Danny were talking about, having to do with meaning, but we won't do that. But so what do I mean? Okay, now when we refer to meaning in our lives, what we refer to is, I think, kind of like this vague emotional state that feels good, right?
Yeah.
So feels good. So meaning feels good. So if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you run into is your kitty purring and rubbing alongside your leg, you're like, oh, I like that little critter. And it reminds me of a little human child thing because it's little and it's cute. And then you get this good feeling. So you have all of these basically hormones that are coursing through your brain, making you feel kind of pleasant. So you feel in a positive way, right?
Yeah, and plus there's the idea too of that you have some sort of warrant to engage in what you're doing, purpose. As well. That kind of pulls you along. People want to be able to open their eyes and get out of bed and feel like they're doing the right thing for themselves.
Okay, but here's the catch. Okay, so we got meaning up here and we got purpose down here. Do you think they're the same?
I don't necessarily think that they're the same.
Right. And why?
Well, because purpose, you could be fulfilling somebody else's purpose, or an obligatory kind of purpose, like, oh my God, I made those children, now I have to feed them. But if you don't have money to feed your children, then they'll starve, and people will look bad, look at me like I'm a bad person. So that's kind of a other directed purpose, that while everybody loves their children and doesn't want them to starve, don't get me wrong, it's not like that internal, I'm going to use the word unction because that's King James English, that you own, you possess it, you own it, it comes from inside of you.
I thought unction was something you put on a wound.
I've not heard that. Maybe I should try some unction next time I stub my toe.
The action of anointing someone with oil. Treatment with a medicinal oil or ointment. See, I knew it.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, but okay. Action of anointing somebody with oil or ointment.
Function with unction, the preachers used to say.
Yeah, unction with that fun. Oh wow. Anyway, okay, but here's the difference. Okay, the cat comes up and rubs on my leg in the morning, and I'm busy thinking about other things, and I look down and I get this warm feeling that, hey, my kitty, it's Loki or Thor, and I'm just, and I have, and that feels like meaning to me, right? And the next meeting I have is getting a cup of coffee in front of me and getting some of it into my mouth, and that has this wonderful feeling of, whatever. But then I sit down and I start thinking, okay, what am I going to do today? It's Monday or Tuesday, so we got to do this fucking 8 a.m. thing. And then I start thinking, but you understand that, okay, this is basically, these are low level chemical responses to life as an organism, right? So that's part of it. So that gives you the fiber of meaning. That gives you the feeling, that sense of warmth that you get on Christmas morning when you see the Christmas tree and all of that. And when you see people, happy in the streets, that sort of thing, you have that fiber, that basic hormonal emotional feeling. So these are emotions. Okay. And then purpose is like where you start to, plan something, like you're constructing some sort of like object that you're going to do in life. So these have to do with words and concepts. And these are things that, like, the next thing after you wake up, first thing you usually got to do is pee. And then after that, you want coffee, and then you pet the kitty, and then you do whatever. So you have all these emotional organismal level feelings and emotions that you're running through, right? And the next thing is your mind is like now woke up, and now you start to replace it with these rational constructs. So you start to have a dialogue in your mind.
You woke live.
When you first stumble out of bed, there's a bunch of shit rolling around in your mind, but it's not really a good dialogue. You're just kind of like rolling through things, right? So there's a difference between these two things, purpose and meaning. Okay. And now meaning, okay, purpose would be like something overall that I've gotten used to in my life that I feel that I want to do, that I want to accomplish. You have this emotional juice squirter that shoots dopamine into you when you wake up. And the first thing you do is you want to do something with that. You want to start gathering food, building a fire, tending to needs, building that fucking planter in the yard or whatever. All these things start coming to your mind. But my point is that this is the rational part down here, and this up here is just the emotional juice squirter part. So now when Christians say that we have no meaning in our life, what they're telling us is that we're not organisms. We're not human. We're what? Computers, robots? What are they telling us? I mean, we all feel shit. So
yeah. they're telling us that you have to have our magic secret to meaning, or it's not real.
Yeah, our
Which
meaning
is
is the only
bullshit.
meaning that has meaning, that sort of thing. And
My
it's
meaning is better than your meaning.
yeah, but I mean, it is just, and any idiot can understand that every human being alive has emotions, right? And has feelings and cares about their young, cares about their kiddies, cares about, cares about going out in the world and constructing things and doing things and accomplishing. I mean, it's just a part of being a human, basically a primate, or any organism for that matter. Every organism gets up, stretches, looks around, hits the bathroom, and goes out and gathers nuts. It's just a simple formula that all organisms have. So
I gathered my nuts.
Oh, you got them. Okay.
Right there.
So, I mean, what else is there? What else is there besides that?
God.
Yeah, they have to have like an ultimate meaning for their life. Like if you, okay, so purpose, which is often confused with meaning, and I wouldn't confuse the two. Meaning is that substrate of emotional warmth and goodness and feeling. And then purpose is when we start to make plans. And man makes plans and God laughs. I love that statement. That's something you hear in the rooms of AA. Man makes plans, God laughs. But so purpose is, you have these things that you want to do. And okay, well, let's harken back to the month. We have a month and we have weeks, right? And then we have, many months, and then we have years, and years and years and years. And we have, like, when we were children, we might plan to go to college. So we got a long range plan. We got something like that. Well, the Christians ignore all of that. They don't care about any of that because your life is meaningless to them. Your life is basically nothing more than were you, like going to college. You're going to get a mark, and depending on the mark, you're either going to go to hell or heaven. So it's like you got to pass this fucking test, and you got to put up with all this horrible sin and life and choices and all that, and then you go to heaven. And so what they've done is they've taken all of the meaning out of life, and they put it into the future. Now, here's the problem, okay, with meaning and purpose, okay? Are you with me, Scott, or I can't see you, Scott? You look like a hyena. You're eating.
Yeah, I was, I took a bite out of my burrito.
Okay. So anyway, but you see, like, okay, the Buddhist idea of meaning is that you stop constructing all these purposes, that you use your mind and you use planning as a tool to basically kind of make things easier in your life. But for the most part, your meaning is the kitty rubbing up against your leg and petting the kitty and real emotional things. So this fabric of existence is what you would concentrate on, right? And then you have all these plans. But if you get too far into planning, for one thing, your plans are not always going to work out. And for another thing, you're kind of pulling yourself away from this emotional substrate if you're planning too much, right? But what the Christians want to do is they want to take your whole fucking life, and they want to take all of the meaning and fiber out of it, the fabric out of it. And they want to go to this, after you die, you're going to get the prize. I just find that so heretical and so fucking hope without meaning, that when they say I don't have meaning, I look at them and I say, sorry, it's you that don't have any fucking meaning in your life. You don't even understand what it is. You don't understand.
They're just trying to make meaning their proprietary possession.
Well, not only that, but they want to strip the meaning from humanity. They want to say we're nothing but sinful, horrible, fallible creatures. We're genetically entropying. We're sinning. Things are getting worse. We're heading to the apocalypse. The only thing that means anything is that you accept Jesus and you get the prize at the end over here, and it's like, fuck you, the prize at the end. It's like, wow, you can't see my, for some reason, half my drawing is not happening. But I mean, this prize at the end takes all the meaning out of life. And it's totally the opposite of what a Buddhist would preach, basically.
Well, some of the things that Christians also include in this idea of meaning is serving others, meditation, and prayer.
That's
the things that anybody else gets meaning and fulfillment from.
But it means nothing to them unless they get the prize at the end or it's attached to Jesus.
Right.
So basically they've taken that is the opposite of spirituality. That's the opposite of religion. That's the opposite of the feeling, right? Like if you're say you're some sort of pagan nature worshiper and you go out in the woods and you feel the wind and you the wind is coming and to you the wind is just like it's a god unto itself, and the trees blooming and the power of nature and all of that. You're embracing life as an organism and you're embracing meaning. So paganism is as close as you get, I think, to true simple meaning, right?
Yeah.
But then if you say, oh well, the wind god wants me to go left, well, I guess you could do that, but I mean, the wind god is angry with me.
Like, that would be sort of like a pagan's version of I Ching, where you have those little, isn't it a bunch of sticks that tell you what to do?
Yeah. And the wind can tell you which way to go. If you go and follow the wind, you'll have a good time.
Yeah, if you have the time to do it and the means to do it, sure, follow the wind.
Yeah. But I wish Rebecca was here this morning because I would like to ask her about what the fuck do you mean that atheists have no meaning in our lives? I mean, my life is full of meaning.
That's just a self-serving Christian meme that makes the Christian feel better and makes the person they're talking to feel feel like they're less than in the eyes of the Christian who's saying all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make me feel, it makes me feel like it's like well, there is kind of a top down quality to that. It's like it is like somebody's looking down on you because but the reality is I get meaning without your God or your Christianity. I don't need it.
Right.
So
it's just such a nasty thing to say to a person. You have no meaning unless you believe like I believe.
What's that Conan the Barbarian said in his movie, to drive your enemies before you and rape their women and all that. I think next time somebody asks me what my meaning and purpose in life is, I'll just recite that.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds good. Anyway, so meaning, and like what does a person mean when they say a word? What do they mean by it? We're always that, to me, when philosophers get off on that tangent, I just think they miss the point so seriously because they don't apply my scientism, my method of rendering everything to naturalism and starting out with we are organisms and whatever. But anyway, so you gotta wrap up soon, Scott. You gotta stand up or something.
Well, I have some work I need to get started on
here
in a couple of minutes.
Yep. Okay. So I just wanted to go back to this a little bit. Okay. So I pointed out yesterday that your hair, your teeth, and your mammary glands basically come from the same kind of tissue. This basically mesoderm, I believe it is. Well, this could be ectoderm. I'm not sure. I'd have to trace it out. But anyway, so there are slightly different genetic programs inside of each of these tissues. In other words, some genes have been suppressed and other genes have been expressed. So some genes have been masked in these tissue types as your embryo forms. And the very same kind of tissue can turn into all three of these things. And then we have this basically nipples, where you have the fat pad and whatever. And then after birth and throughout puberty in females, this thing will continue to differentiate and create a mammary gland that's capable of feeding young. Okay. Whereas this one up here is going to basically turn into a tooth. And this one here is going to turn into a hair shaft. And so it's just a very, very slight. So every cell has its own set of expressed genes and repressed genes. And every cell has its own environment. And those two things, environment plus what is being expressed inside of that nucleus, are what determine whether we're going to get a nipple, a tooth, or a hair follicle, which I think is pretty fascinating.
So is there are there cases of people growing teeth where their nipples should be?
Maynard, I don't know if we can milk you or not. You're going to have to tell us what your pronouns are.
Yeah, and you might need to take some hormone supplements to accomplish that.
Yep. Yeah, we're not that far from, any male actually developing milk producing. I'm sure there's a way to do it. Unless that is fixed earlier in age. I'm not entirely sure about that. So I don't know. But looking at how these things form gives you a really good feel for how very small genetic changes could make a difference between a hair, a tooth, and a mammary gland. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of gene change or mutation in order to change from one end to the other as far as how things regulate. But that's all I wanted to say about embryology this morning.
Well, that's wild.
Yeah.
It's interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. I hope they do a lot more documentaries about it just to have cool stuff to watch like that.
Yeah. God, I'd love to do a documentary about it, but I can't find the right animation software, and I don't know. It is so fucking hard to talk about sometimes, but there's so many moving parts.
Mm-hmm. Or so many things that it's hard to visualize.
Yeah.
Unless you're really, really, really into it.
Yep. Yeah, and even then you've got to visualize it over and over and over again until you get a feel for what is really going on. And there's one site that does claymation and medical animations that I got to dig up again. That's kind of an interesting approach.
Because, yeah, claymation. That is interesting.
I've always got a chunk of clay in front of me that I always fuck with.
There you go.
That sort of thing. And the reason for that, or I got a couple of chunks. I got another one here. I don't know what that is. It looks like a spool. But you put them together and you start twisting them up. And I use these for my microscope. Anyway. But I got to go do some microscopy for my neighbor's little boy. I have to.
Well, there you go.
They found a shell.
It's almost like you have purpose.
Yeah, meaning in my life. So here's a shell that they found in creek.
Cool shell. Reminds me of cinnamon rolls.
Yes.
Another thing I can't have, but still, it reminds me. Well, I just want to thank people like Wooly and KCA Randy and Maynard Saves.
Yeah, all two of the people that are watching us this morning.
And Bree was here earlier as well.
Three.
And, that was great to have.
Oh, yes. So last night there was Brainbug had a video on her channel, so people should check that out.
Yes, check out Brainbug's channel. She has a great, just a great series of features, and as well as a great Saturday morning show.
Supernatural things and all kinds of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened last night? I can't remember what happened last night. There was so many things. I watched a movie last night called Miss Chompy and the Girls. Chompy and the Girls.
I heard of that. Well, there's Jason Torn.
Hey, Jason.
What did you think of the debate last night, Jason? They're on Jefferson's channel.
Okay, so last night, PopSci did T-Rex go woke. Brain
PopSci did T-Rex go woke.
Go woke. So no, I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but I will link it in the description. So
here is the one-word commentary from Jason Torn on last night's debate.
Shit show, yeah. Okay. Anyway, this is it. PopSci did T-Rex go woke. Oh boy, this has got to be a good one.
Okay.
This is definitely got to watch.
I'm going to listen to that while I work today.
Yep.
Hey, come in, Cyborg.
Let me link that. Okay. So we probably, unfortunately, Jason, we're just wrapping up. Still listening.
Yep.
So Bug, what T-Rex? Okay, we'll watch it.
We'll have to watch it. It's such a good title. Is that recent? Is that new?
12 hours ago.
Wow, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, so it's a new one. And we'll put that in the description. The other thing, God, Bree, you never promote your videos here, and you should. When you come in, you should promote your videos. I mean, Christ.
It's a new rule of the channel that Brainbug must promote her videos when she comes in.
Yes. Yep.
Just automatic.
Right. Should we wrap up?
Yeah, unfortunately, I need to. I got a project I need to complete, and it's giving me headaches.
I have to go down and rake the rest of my path so my son doesn't kill himself.
Yeah, you don't want your son to accidentally
kill himself.
Yeah.
He could have fell on a stick and he would have been impaled down there, and I'd be like, fuck, what the fuck did I do?
And then you'd have to go down there and drag his body back up to the house.
I feel all bad about. Well, no, that's not what we do. Like my friend Gary, you saw Gary walking behind me. We have a rule with him. If he falls off the ladder, we kick him into the valley and throw some leaves on top. And that's
okay.
That's our insurance policy. So that's what we do. If you die in the valley, what dies in the valley stays in the valley.
Okay. It gives back to the valley.
It gives back to the valley.
It gives back to the valley.
It does. Yeah. Okay. Wrapping up. We'll see you guys for that cool world.
Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate you stopping by.
Remember, we started a conversation about meaning and purpose, and we'd like to continue that with somebody. Bye-bye.